Okay, so question number 1 says, the author most likely wrote this passage primarily in order to, the primary purpose of the passage. Guys, if you haven't watched the passage analysis video, please do watch it because this is a difficult passage. It is important for you to first understand the broad outline of the passage. So what is the primary purpose of this passage? Let's see. Option A says, to outline and defend a contractarian view of justice. Contractarian view is the social contract model here. Does the author outline the model? Yes. Here in these two paragraphs, he outlines the model. How it is achieved, what are the results obtained. Does he defend the model? Yes. In the last paragraph, he says, though there are objections, such objections are lacking in interest. And then he supports, saying that at least it provides a satisfactory abstraction or conception for the idea of fairness. So he defends the model. Option A seems to be the correct answer. Option B says, propose an alternative to radical solutions to social problems. Number 1, author does not propose an alternative to radical solutions. He, if at all, proposes an alternative to the utilitarian model. Number 2, he does not even propose an alternative. He merely describes an alternative. Proposing an alternative would mean he presents an alternative. The alternative already exists and it is in revival. It is resurgent. So he does not introduce a new model or proposes a new model. He only describes an existing model here. So it also goes wrong. Option C, compare the two models, utilitarian and contractarian. Author does compare the two models, but he does more than comparison. He does not merely compare, he also supports the contractarian model. Comparison is objective, but the passage is clearly subjective. Therefore, this option goes out. Option D says to resurrect the idea of social contract. Does the author try to resurrect the idea? The idea is already resurrecting. It is in revival. So author does not resurrect it. He merely describes this idea of social contract. So option A is the correct answer. Question 2. Which of the following would not be classified as a utilitarian way of conducting social affairs? Well, the utilitarian way, as explained in the first line, is subordinating individual rights to achieve maximum social welfare. So the community welfare or the greater good, net community welfare, is a bigger goal than individual rights. Okay. Option A says prohibiting homosexual relationships because they pose a threat to the social fabric. If you prohibit homosexual relationships because they pose a threat to the social fabric, you are working to achieve net community welfare at the expense of individual rights by curbing the rights of homosexuals. So this is a utilitarian model. It goes out. Our question is, which of the following is not a utilitarian abstraction or step? Okay. Option B says revoking free access to education in colleges and schools. Revoking free access to education works against community welfare, which means it should be the correct answer. It is not a utilitarian model. Option C says making vaccination against a communicable disease mandatory. Making anything mandatory is violation of individual rights, but it is being done to contain the spread of a communicable disease, which means net community welfare again governs this step. It is bigger than the individual rights, so it is also universal, a utilitarian model. Example of the same. Okay. Option D, implementing a progressive taxation system. Progressive taxation means if I earn more, I pay more tax. So it again might seem to be a violation of individual right or liberty or fairness. The idea of fairness is not fair to me, clearly, but it ultimately leads to net community welfare. Therefore, implementing a progressive taxation system is also utilitarian, an example of utilitarian model. Clearly, option B is the answer. Which of the following is an assumption of the contractarian model? Okay. The assumption is given here in the second paragraph. The contractarian model assumes that the people making the choices, making the decision behind justice, do so behind a veil of ignorance. They are ignorant for now of their position in society, their race, their gender, their place in the social order. So this is the assumption that the people making the choice do so by assuming that they are unaware of their social standing, which means option A, which resonates with this idea, should be the correct answer. The decision makers act before acquiring any place in the social order. They act before acquiring would mean that assume they are not aware of their place in the society. Option B, all members of the contracting group will place a high value on personal liberty. That is not an assumption of this model, nowhere mentioned. Option C, justice can only be secured by ensuring that all the positions in the social order have equal power. That is again not an assumption of the social contract model. This only is also problematic. Option D, the contracting parties will seek to safeguard their own liberties. Well, is that an assumption that they will seek to safeguard their own liberties? To the contrary, the very assumption that they don't know about their social standing means that their decision is going to be fair and unshaded or uncolored by personal biases. It runs contrary to the entire idea. Option A. The author implies that a party to the social contract who chose to gamble on the outcome of social order. Okay. Here it is given. Some people may choose to gamble on the outcome of social order. That's a criticism of this model. Okay. Now, what is the outcome of this model? Outcome was given here in the previous line. Injustice is defined as an unequal distribution of good things, which means justice is defined as equal access. Okay. So outcome is equal access to good things. Everybody gets an equal access to good things. That is the outcome of the social contract model. But someone who would gamble on this outcome, you'll have to understand the contextual meaning of this word gamble. Gamble here means probably make a compromise or take risk with the outcome. Now, if you're taking risk with this outcome, you're defeating this outcome, which means we can add a not, and this is what we're looking for, an answer choice, which leads to an unequal access to good things. So such a person would take a decision that allows an unequal access to liberty and other social goods. That's exactly what we're looking for. Such a person would not take a decision that leads to equalization. Then he's not really gambling or compromising with the goal. He is supporting this goal. It is contrary or opposite to what we need. Option C, that explicitly denied inherent inequalities. Well, it's not about denying that there are any inequalities. It's not about the belief. It's about the choice that this person is going to make. Or he's going to choose something that values the benefit of society in the aggregate over the freedom of the individual. Again, that would count as a utilitarian model. Someone who compromised with the goal of this. Also, option D does not even talk about equal access to good things. It's irrelevant to the goal described here in the last paragraph. So option A. It can be inferred that the author feels that the ideas of John Rawls are relevant today because, okay, in the first paragraph he mentions John Rawls. We'll have to look at the previous 2-3 lines. Author says this utilitarian model has failed to achieve the goal of establishing fairness. The utilitarian model run counter, which means they're against the concept of, to the basic liberal concept of fairness. And that is why another model, alternative model, which is in revival these days, it was once discarded, but now it is getting revived. And John Rawls' model is also, he also supports this model. So John Rawls' ideas are relevant today because this goal has not been achieved by the utilitarian models, which means option B should be the correct answer. John Rawls' ideas are relevant because they outline a view of justice which results in maximum possible liberty for all. This liberty can be achieved through his ideas. That is the reason it is also mentioned in the third paragraph that the ultimate goal of social contract model, which is also John Rawls' model, is maximum possible justice and liberty, as explained in the passage analysis video. This was a result obtained through social contract model. Now, option A says the problem word in option A is the word ethically. John Rawls' ideas present in contrast to utilitarianism. They are in contrast to utilitarianism, that is correct. And ethically, this concept of justice, this ethics word is not mentioned anywhere in the passage. So it goes out. His ideas are relevant because the utilitarian ideas have led to social philosophies with which the author disagrees. Well, a tempting choice, but it is not this factually true. Yes, the author shows slight disagreement with the utilitarian concepts, but this is not the reason. It is not the reason why he mentions John Rawls or why he thinks that John Rawls' ideas are relevant. It's logically void. I mean, as an author, if I do not agree with someone and I say, therefore, Mr. X's ideas are relevant because I do not agree with something, with a principle, John Rawls' ideas are relevant is no logical argument. So option C does not logically answer the question, though it is factually true. Option D, new evidence has strengthened, no new evidence has been found. So these are the answers, guys. A nice passage, difficult passage. Keep practicing for more. Hit the like icon. More coming your way. Cheers to learning.